Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here today. We're going to take a quick look at Shiba Inu. And just before we do, we usually look at Bitcoin. And it's just kind of good to understand kind of what's going on. We got a pretty strong sell-off here today. Pretty low volume as well over the last few trading days. So I speculate we might see the price continue to decrease, maybe closer to 60, 63,000. I hope that's not the case, but if so, we'll see how 63,000 holds as a support level here soon. It's proven to be pretty good support in the last few days, but again, it's only been tested twice. So all in all, that's the state of Bitcoin. We did lose the 4-hour simple moving average, basically the 50-day SMA, and we'll also find out here soon how the 200-day SMA will hold. Okay, so hopefully we don't have to worry about that, but that is the state of Bitcoin right now. Just heads up on that. Okay, all right. So looking at Shiba Inu. Cool thing is Shiba is kind of doing the inverse, right? Which commonly happens with all these dog coins. I notice that when Bitcoin goes down, these ones go up because money comes away from Bitcoin and comes into this, right? That's kind of the general concept. Now we're above the 4-hour simple moving average, basically correction the 50-day simple moving average on the 4-hour chart. And this is a good news because obviously that works as a pretty strong support level. It was rejected out previously when it tried to break above. And also we got the 200 working behind, right? So there's the 200 slowly increases, so does the price, and that's a very good sign. Let's take a quick peek at the one-day chart as well. We're still over 50 on the RSI. I love this. Basically, it just implies that we're still holding support, which is likely right around 51.71 as a strong support level at this point. So we're looking good here still. We also have a potential convergence on the MACD that might occur in the next few days. As this slowly starts to trend outwards and this goes down, well, we might see that within the next week or so. We might have a convergence on the MACD on the one-day chart, which is typically a pretty strong, push. Now, looking at the 4-hour chart back once more, again, we're looking good as the moving averages are below the price. We're back up over 50 on the RSI. This is also very good. This is a great sign to imply that we are now back in bullish momentous trend. In other words, there's a strong chance we should see the price continue to increase as 50 on the RSI on the 4-hour chart works as a very strong support and resistance level. As you can see previously, it worked as a pretty strong resistance and now could likely be a strong support. And I say could just because, with the state of Bitcoin right now, it's hard to say specifically what's going to happen, but the fact that this is increasing is a very good sign for Shiba. So we'll take a look at the 1-hour chart on Ishimoku, and as we can see, we're back above the cloud as well. So oftentimes this cloud can correlate with the 50 on the RSI on the 4-hour chart. It also correlates directly as well with the MACD convergence on the 4-hour chart too. So there's a couple of good things going on here for Shiba. It's got more bullish than bearish qualities at this point, which I love, but more key indicators too, right? Being above the 4-hour 50-day simple moving average is huge. Same thing with the 50 on the RSI for the 4-hour chart. Those are two really important indications, and also above the cloud here as well. So ultimately, there's really no downside here for Shiba. What could likely happen is the price could come down to consolidate closer to about 54, 5,500, and then increase. Correction, I misspoke. It's basically 54.50 is right where the support line is at, plus or minus a couple, right? So 54.50 could be a really good bounce scenario, and we'll see kind of what happens there. Looking at TD sequential, we're at a 9 right now, so keep in mind we're a bit on the overextended side. So for lack of better terms, we could likely still see a consolidation phase going sideways here for the next 9 to 13 hours. Hard to say specifically what will happen there in that sense because Shiba has proven to ramp up when Bitcoin comes down, and right now Bitcoin is trending right around 64,000. It keeps wanting to break that support level. So we'll see here soon what happens, but it wouldn't be surprised if Shiba kind of holds right around 54.50 as a really close approximate right next to that support level. We could also see a leg up from there too. And big picture here, let's go ahead and look at what could very well happen essentially with the price where to get kind of that ramp up that we're hoping for. Now obviously we're not going to see about 8,800 anytime soon. I don't speculate we're going to see this big of a leg up just based on the sheer fact that Bitcoin's selling off a little bit, right? That's not typically what happens because as we can see, like November 10th, Shiba Inu still fell when Bitcoin dropped, right? So if we get another 5 or 10% loss in Bitcoin, just say today or tomorrow, then there's a great chance that Shiba will definitely drop too, right? So there's no doubt about that. However, if Bitcoin just slowly bleeds, if that makes sense, then Shiba will slowly increase. So that's my speculation. It's basically done that previously a few times before. So we just got to keep that in mind. So next major resistance level, of course, is 5,700, and then of course 6,100 after that. Those are two major milestones here. The key takeaway here, though, is that on the one-day chart, 5,700 has proven to be a strong resistance. It's tried 1, 2, 3, almost 4 times in the past 7 days of trading. Therefore, our major milestone is 5,700, so we'll bridge that gap first. So I would say that within the next 24 hours, if Bitcoin continues to just kind of go sideways and or slowly decrease, we will see Shiba testing 5,700. If it breaks that on the one-day candlestick and closes above on the one-day candle, then we can add to our position and consider that to be positive moving upwards, right? Without that one-day candlestick close, though, it's really important to understand that that is a pretty strong key indicator for a support and resistance level. So for right now, let's just focus on what we got. In other words, 5,400, we need to close above 5,400 on the one-day candlestick today, and then ideally close above 5,700 on the one-day candlestick tomorrow. Right? That would be a best-case scenario to allow for us to have that positive momentum to push to the upside. So, a lot could happen between now and then. I would just say keep an eye on Bitcoin and kind of see what happens. But it is hugging 64,000 right now, which is not a great sign considering we're at 66 plus this time yesterday. So again, just something to consider, but hopefully you find this beneficial. Of course, if you haven't already, please consider joining my Patreon community. I actually really got a really good group of folks there. And what it is too, in case you don't already know, I'm sure you probably do because you probably see some of these channels, but for the most part, I send out signals for every single trade that I take. There's one thing. But for number two, you can help become a better, more effective trader. And the whole concept is be, kind of immersed in the industry. And we have a lot of folks in there. We have almost 200 members already, and everyone's learning and growing together. It's a very cool collaborative environment. So definitely check that out if you haven't already. In fact, we've got a lot of cool members that actually are Shiba Inu holders. So really cool stuff there. Either way, thanks again for joining me here. Look forward to seeing the next video. Hope you have a great rest of your day. We'll see you then.